Hi everybody, my name is Doug Wilson, and this is Yellowhawk Custom Kydex. So, without further ado, let's get into these three. I'll tell you a little bit about them and my thoughts on certain options and so on. Okay? All three of these were built by me within the past week. Okay? So we'll start with this one. Actually, this one's been a couple of weeks. Now, before I show you, and talk about this a little bit and show you what's on it and what's not, I have to say this. The client that this belongs to is not answering my texts. I do not send a sheath out until you see it. Until the client sees it and says, yep, go ahead and send it, love it, blah, 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 blah. Right? Well, he hasn't done that yet, so I've had it for 2 weeks. I haven't sent it out yet. This does not normally happen. Sometimes it does. So I'm waiting for him to contact me. Okay? Alright, so this is, I already showed this in another video. This is a Bravo 1 from Bark River. CPM 3V, right? I think it's 3V. Let's see, somebody took the laser etching off of it. I don't know. It looks like 3V. It does. Alright. Nice knife. Great handle. If you're looking for a decent blade that, well, actually, if you're looking for a nice blade that's production made but still has some hand finishing work associated with it, Bark River. Okay? Bark River. There are a lot of other knife companies out there that I am familiar with and that I like. Bark River is just one of them. Alright? I happen to have a Bark River in my hand, so I'm going to talk about this. Okay? Nice convex grind. Really, really well made. They're well made knives. And every once in a while you get a little mistake in a Bark River. If you're that bent up about it and you got your panties in a bunch over it, they'll either fix it or replace it. They will. I've seen them do it many times. Okay? Mike Stewart supports Yellowhawk Custom Kydex, and we support him. Okay? The Kydex is called Adirondack Micro. Alright? This is what he wanted, so this is what I'm building for him, or I have built for him. On the back is a combat lock belt clip on a mount plate. These mount plates are key when I build a sheath. If you want, it's a little extra, but what it does is gives you options on where to put this clip. You can can it, you can put it, you still have options without the plate. But the plate allows the clip to get further up the knife handle, right? And I tell you what, a 1/4 inch makes a big difference, right? So you can see it's all the way up there near the hilt. And it's just shy of the combat scallops. Just shy of the combat scallops. I can't put it over them or they won't work, right? So, inside, you open it up, right? Open it up. Press these 2 detent buttons. Pull this out. This is the Raptor dangler assembly. It clips into the belt clip. It will also clip into a tech lock, a small tech lock. There's a couple others. Okay, the dots locks. Now, he did not ask for this, but I gave him a Molly lock clip and the hardware to go with it if he wants to take this off and put a Molly lock centered on the sheath in the back. That's key, centered. If the mount plate wasn't there, he would have to put the Molly lock clip on the side of the sheath, and some guys don't like that. I'm okay with it, right? But some guys want it in the center so everything's balanced, right? Good idea. Alright? And then scuba webbing for the belt loop. And that's it. This folds down. You can put it in your your pack. Nice small setup there. This is the sheath that came with the knife. Now, I know why the guy's replacing this sheath, because technically, if you're roughhousing or you're humping over rough terrain or whatever, you can lose your knife out of this sheath. It can happen. It does wedge in there, right? But some of them aren't very tight, okay? So I know why he's replacing it, okay? Bark River is one of those companies that has pretty good leather sheaths with their knives. They're pretty good, okay? I'm not a huge fan of a leather sheath on a knife when you're using it in the field. Not a big fan of that. Kydex is where I go when it comes to actually using your knife in the field. Okay? That's just my opinion. Alright? But it's based on, 45 years of experience. Okay, let's go with this guy here. This is a Lion Steel. I forget the model. They make great knives. They really do. They make nice knives. Not too expensive. Not ridiculously expensive. I like Lion Steel's knives because they contour the handles. They rough them up. They put these ridges on them. This is all machined. CNC machine. Some of my Timberhawk knives were done that way. Joshua Blankenship from Ankara Knife Company has a guy who will do this, right, with the handles. And I was pretty surprised when they came in. Lion Steel. And here's the sheath he wanted. It's OD green. Everything's OD green. This is a Ranger green. I have not been able to find this size of scuba webbing in OD green. Get what I'm saying? It may exist. If anybody knows where to get something like that, it has to be scuba webbing. Regular webbing, raspberries on that. Okay? Alright? And then he did not want a belt clip. He wanted a voodoo dangler, which is actually attached to the sheath itself. Okay, voodoo dangler. It's nice and tight. It's not coming out of there. If you're funny about it, take the screw out, Loctite it, and crank it down. It'll never come out. Okay? That means you can't take it off the sheath then. So, I make sure they are pretty tight. Not ridiculous, just pretty tight, right? You don't want to crack anything. I mean, you can crank a screw down so much on plastic that it'll crack the plastic. You can. I don't know if you can do it with your hand. I don't know if somebody's strong enough to do it, but it can happen, okay? So, when you're dealing with screws on your sheath, you got to check them anyway, right? Check them before you go out in the field. Check them before an op, whatever. Make sure the screws are snug. Okay? On the back is a small Altoids tin. You can put anything you want in this. This one's empty. Okay? But he could put anything he wants in this. And this is what he wanted. He asked me to put one on the back. Well, actually on the sheath. Okay? The holder holds it. It's not coming out unless you take it out. Okay? On the front is a face mount ferro rod for fire starting. Okay? And there it is. It's good to go. Like I said, he did not want a belt clip on this, although one will fit on it. Just barely fits with that. I mean, I sized it just right. It just barely fits. But it does fit. Okay? Alright, so there's that one. Here is the leather sheath that came with it. Okay? This, for me, strap with a snap is a no-no. Okay? Number one, definitely, eventually, going to cut that strap off just taking the knife out of the sheath. It's going to happen. Okay? There's no way you can avoid it. It's just going to happen eventually. And then you're walking through the bush, right? Got these wait a minute vines all around. Wait a minute. Catches and pops that thing right out. You can lose your knife. Okay? Decent leather sheath. Decent. But like I said, if you want security in the field, Kydex is the way to go. I know, you guys that love leather, you're getting all hot under the collar, panties in a bunch. I get it. I get it. Some guys are die-hard leather fans. I get it. Okay? And more power to you. If you're okay with that, then I'm okay with it. Okay? But if you want to replace your leather sheath with Kydex, give us a ring. Give another maker a ring. You know, it doesn't matter who makes it. Well, it really does matter who makes it, but... Okay, so there's that. Let me talk about slide locks real quick. I could put a slide lock in here, right? That basically locks the blade in when you slide it up. Okay, they're very effective. I usually give them to, or recommend them to, military guys who are in combat units, where they're going to see, probably going to see some combat, or may in the future see some combat, and I'll put a slide lock in there if they want it. If anybody else wants one, I'll put one in. They are more expensive, and it increases the price of the sheath a little, but I don't think they're necessary. Not with our retention. Not with, you know, I mean, come on. You know, that thing's not coming out of there unless you take it out. Okay? There it is. Okay, there's that mount plate again. This is a Winkler something knife. Something. Hold on, I don't like to not know this. Winkler Lost Lake Camp Knife. Okay, Lost Lake Camp Knife. Now here's the first deterrent to doing Kydex on this knife. Okay, Winkler, for whatever reason, does not polish his edges right here. Okay, in this area, all these little edges need to be polished, at least cut down a little bit. Other knife makers do it because they realize that it will chew up the Kydex. Okay? It'll chew up leather too. Right? I'm not saying it does, but it will. Alright? So, I do that for you guys. If I ask permission first. I do. Okay? This guy was like, yes, do what you need to do, Doug. I trust you. Alright? So, I polished all these edges, took them down a little bit. And now, it will not scratch, you know, shave the Kydex. Those sharp edges are like blades. And they'll shave the Kydex, shave the Kydex, shave the Kydex, in and out too, until you get a loose fit. Okay? And that just drives me nuts. Okay? So, I polish that edge if it needs it. Sometimes it doesn't need it. A lot of the times it doesn't need it. On a lot of tops knives, they chamfer their edges a little bit. A lot of them, not all of them, but anyway, I'm not going to belabor the point. Okay, and then we have that. There's that mount clip again. There's that Molly lock clip centered. You know, the whole the hardware is already there. All you got to do is screw into it. Okay, I placed the hardware into the Kydex holes, right? See how far up that clip goes? Up right just prior to the combat scallops. Okay? Good to go. Why is it that way? Why do I want it far up the handle like that? Or as far up as I can get it? Because most knives are handle heavy. Handle heavy. So I want that center of gravity up further a little bit so that it doesn't droop as much or it doesn't droop at all. You can actually take this off now and he can cant that clip and it'll give him just basically the same thing as I'm giving him here. Okay, this mount plate really does make a difference, right? It is a little more expensive, but it's worth it. If it's a knife you use in the field all the time, and it's your like favorite knife, or you gotta have a Kydex sheath for it, then it deserves Kydex sheath. Okay, a nice one that's thought out with great options. Blah 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 blah. Okay, that's it. Just regular black. Okay, the plate is 0.125, the thickest Kydex that you can get. Okay, and then I convex it. Yeah, convex it a little bit so that's even stronger, right? You can hardly lift that up off of there, right? Very tough, very tough. All right, guys, that's it. This is Doug Wilson from Yellow Hawk Custom Kydex. Thank you for watching, and thank you for supporting veteran-owned Yellow Hawk Customs. See ya.